Haunting of Elm Street. In the heart of the city, nestled between two modern skyscrapers, stood an old Victorian house on Elm Street, weathered and worn, but with an undeniable charm. Its once vibrant paint was chipped and its roof sagged under the weight of years gone by. Marissa, a young graphic designer with a penchant for the unconventional, had dreamt of owning a home like this all her life. When she stumbled upon it at a local auction, she knew she had to have it, haunted or not. The moment she crossed the threshold, a chill swept through her. The air felt heavy, and the dim light cast by cracked windows gave the place an eerie glow. It just needs a little love, she reassured herself, envisioning the cozy cottage she would turn it into. Marissa spent her first night there, surrounded by moving boxes, dismissing the creaks and groans as simply the house settling. However, as the days turned into weeks, the haunted reputation of the property became harder to ignore. The neighbors spoke in hushed tones, their eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and concern. Rumors circulate. Chameau. The Legend of the Whispering Bridge. In the peaceful town of Elderswood, nestled between rolling hills and tranquil rivers, stands an old overhead bridge that stretches across the main road. It's a picturesque spot, lined with blooming cherry blossom trees, but locals avoid it after sunset. The legend of the Whispering Bridge has been passed down through generations, instilling fear in the hearts of both children and adults. Decades ago, a young woman named Clara was known for her beauty and kindness in Elderswood. Every evening, she would walk to the bridge to meet her beloved, a traveling musician named Thomas. They shared dreams of adventure and love, but one fateful night, Thomas never arrived. He had met with an unfortunate accident, his life cut short in a tragic car crash beneath the bridge. Heartbroken, Clara waited for hours, calling out his name. As night cloaked the town, a mysterious fog rolled in, enshrouding her in silence. Desperate and lost, she wandered into the darkness, her wails echoing through the night. Legend has it that Clara's spirit never left too. In the quaint town of Elderville, a sprawling mansion known as Hawthorne House loomed over the neighborhood. This opulent home, adorned with intricate carvings and lush gardens, had been the pride of the town since the late 1800s. However, beneath its beauty lay a chilling secret, one that had haunted the town for generations. The Hawthorne family, affluent and well-respected, seldom invited visitors inside. Whispers of their reclusiveness fueled rumors claiming that the family had long since been cursed. Many believed it began when Amelia Hawthorne, the last surviving member of the family, mysteriously vanished in the late 1970s. After her disappearance, the house fell into disrepair, becoming a relic of the past, surrounded by an air of intrigue and dread. Locals speculated that Amelia had discovered something sinister beneath the house. Children would dare each other to approach the estate, sharing tales of ghostly figures glimpsed through windows and cold drafts that whispered Amelia's name. Stories circulated about strange sounds emanating from beneath. Once upon a time, in a quiet suburban neighborhood, a young couple named Sarah and Tom found their dream home. It was a charming two-story house with a white picket fence, vibrant flower beds, and spacious interiors perfect for starting a family. Excitement filled their hearts as they envisioned laughter and love echoing through the halls. As they settled in, an unsettling feeling lingered like the faintest whisper of a secret hidden in the walls. They brushed it off, attributing it to the stress of moving, but the atmosphere grew eerier as the days passed. Strange noises would echo at night, a soft lullaby, whispers in the dark, and the distant cry of a baby that no one could see. Despite the odd occurrences, Sarah and Tom focused on preparing for their future. After a few months of joy, Sarah discovered she was pregnant. They decorated the nursery with a beautiful mobile of stars and clouds filled with hope for their new arrival. However, the house's dark history loomed over them, unseen, unresolved. Years earlier, another young couple, Emily and Jason, had also moved into. He noticed a trail of snow leading from the door to the window. Confused, he followed the trail only to find a pair of delicate footprints stopping abruptly in front of the window. His heart raced as he recalled the stranger's piercing blue eyes and soft smile. The cottage was warm and cozy, yet he felt a sudden chill. When he turned to the fireplace, he noticed the flames flickering wildly as if stirred by an unseen draft. Determined to learn more about his overnight guest, he searched the cottage but found no traces of her belongings. Then he remembered the soup bowl he'd set down beside the fire. He rushed back only to see it was empty, like she had never been there. Feeling a gut instinct compels him, he stepped outside where the snow crunched beneath his boots. The landscape was transformed. The fresh snow glittered under the weak morning sun. As he followed the footprints, he noticed they led deeper into the woods where the shadows grew long and the air felt heavy. As he ventured further, he heard whispers, faint yet familiar. They sounded like laughter, soft, melodic, but... Once in a small, unremarkable town, a weary man named David worked tirelessly at a local factory. One fateful winter night, as he pedaled home from a long shift, the streets were cloaked in darkness, and a biting chill filled the air. Snowflakes danced down, blanketing the ground in a thick layer of white. Curiosity piqued. He stopped his bike to investigate. As David approached his street, he noticed something unusual. A small object nestled in the snow, flickering against the desolation. Leaning down, he discovered a dusty doll, its porcelain face cracked but seemingly intact. Its glassy eyes seemed to shimmer under the low light, capturing David's attention. Against his better judgment, he picked it up, feeling an odd chill shoot through his spine. He decided it would make an odd, albeit charming addition to his sparse apartment. Later that night, after a quick dinner and a long shower, David sat in his living room. The old, creaky building groaned in the winter wind, but there was something unsettling about the silence. Around midnight, an enchanting melody began to do. The legend of the Midnight Driver. In a small town nestled between thick forests and winding rivers, there circulated a chilling urban legend about a midnight truck driver named Hank. He was known for his relentless dedication to long hauls, often traveling the lonely roads that cut through the darkness. On a particularly cold winter night, Hank was driving his old freight truck along a desolate highway that stretched out like a black ribbon through the forest. The moon cast an eerie glow, reflecting off the lingering frost that sparkled on the road. The radio crackled softly, playing distant tunes while icy winds whispered through the trees. Hank welcomed the solitude, yet felt an unsettling sense of unease creeping in. As he approached a narrow bend, he suddenly spotted a figure standing motionless in the middle of the road. A woman, her long hair cascading over her shoulders, dressed in a flowing white gown that billowed like mist. Her eyes seemed to glow with an otherworldly light, entrancing and haunting all at once. Hank's heart raced as he slammed on the brake. He had spent years in his dimly lit apartment, solitary and consumed by regrets. The somber elevator. In a dilapidated high-rise on the edge of a crumbling city lived a reclusive man named Harold. The building, once bustling, had fallen into neglect, and Harold rarely ventured outside. The elevator, long broken and silent, had become a haunting reminder of better days. On the night he died, a chill lingered in the air. Harold was lying on his worn-out couch, his eyes closed and mind drifting to distant memories. Suddenly, he was jolted awake by an echoing sound that he hadn't heard in years. The grinding of the elevator machinery. Confused, he sat up, listening intently. The noise grew louder, and for a moment it felt as if the building itself was alive again. At first, he dismissed the sound as a figment of his imagination. Yet as he strained to hear, the unmistakable ding of the elevator bell resonated through the lobby. Baffled, Harold rose from his couch, a jumble of emotions swirling inside him. Was it really functioning again? Or was he merely trapped in a fever dream? Title: The Ghost Ship of the Midnight Wave. In the heart of the Caribbean, there existed a cruise ship known as the Midnight Wave. Glamorously adorned and famed for its lavish entertainment, the ship was a popular vacation choice. However, whispers among seasoned sailors told a far darker tale. Many years ago, the Midnight Wave embarked on its maiden voyage, filled with eager guests and a crew ready to serve. It wasn't long before the cruise turned tragic. A violent storm brewed unexpectedly, tossing the ship like a toy on the waves. In the chaos, a mysterious figure appeared on the deck. A woman dressed in a flowing white gown, her hair soaked and wild. Guests reported her haunting cry for help, pleading for her lost child who had vanished into the ocean during the storm. As the tempest raged, the ship trembled and creaked. Lights flickered and passengers shrieked in terror. Amid the turmoil, the woman vanished, and soon after the ship sank with all on board. The Midnight Wave became a ghostly legend, its spirit dwelling in the depths. Years later, the ship was salvaged for... On the outskirts of a small coastal town, nestled between jagged cliffs and treacherous waters, there existed an urban legend known as the Haunting Sea. On stormy nights, the locals swore that the ocean came alive, revealing secrets from beneath its depths. The story began decades ago with a ship called the Mariner's Hope. On its last voyage, it had been caught in a violent storm. As the waves lashed and lightning split the sky, the ship went down, taking with it a crew of seasoned sailors. Many believe that the souls of these sailors never left the sea. As the legend goes, when a storm rolls in, the ghosts of the Mariner's Hope would rise from the depths singing a haunting melody that intertwined with the howling wind and crashing waves. Fishermen and townsfolk who dared to venture near the shore during these storms reported hearing the eerie song drawing them closer to the tumultuous waters. One fateful night, a curious teenager named Jamie, fueled by tales of bravery, decided to investigate. The air crackled with electricity and dark clouds swarmed overhead as thunder. In a small town there lived a woman named Clara who was deeply in love with her husband John. They were the epitome of happiness until tragedy struck. John died unexpectedly in a car accident. Heartbroken, Clara mourned his loss, pouring her grief into keeping his memory alive. Clara's mother-in-law Evelyn was particularly concerned. As the months passed, she found solace in her memories and the support of her family. But it wasn't long before the whispers began. Evelyn believed a widow should not linger in the shadow of her late husband. It wasn't just the mourning that unsettled her. Clara had recently started to show signs of pregnancy 2 years after John's death. "You should remarry, start anew," she urged Clara, but her pleas fell on deaf ears. Evelyn was baffled. Clara stood firm in her decision, insisting, "I'm carrying John's child, his legacy." Some believed she was cursed. Others claimed she was possessed by a Vengeance. How could Clara be pregnant with her son's child when he had been gone for so long? The townsfolk too began to murmur as Clara's belly grew large.